We should not even be discussing this. It's so sad that it's 2021, we are heading to 2021, and it's still we are thinking about, racism. This is something that should be long gone, but it's something that is here and we have to deal with it.
Coronavirus was first recorded in Kenya in March year 2020, and it has brought so many impacts, one being closure of schools, whereby many children have been left wondering about their education. Also, many people have lost their jobs, especially those in urban areas who have been hit hard, and therefore it becomes difficult for them to sustain their families, some ending up to migrate to rural areas to to go and stay with their relatives, whereby there have been conflicts among some families because social distancing, which is one way of controlling coronavirus, becomes almost impossible. There have also been inadequate equipment in health facilities to test coronavirus, and that has made it impossible to get the actual spread of the disease. Also, many families in Kenya have many children, and so it have become difficult for them to put food on table. There have also been stigmatization in those families who have had a member testing positive for coronavirus. But above all, we hope for the best and pray that God will have mercy and make the pandemic to be over. Thank you.
Here in Kenya, Black Lives Matter is not as serious as it is in the States. But to be very honest, I support the movement. I support the Black Lives Matter movement because our voices really need to be heard. There's no way we're in the 21st century, in the year 2020, and still discussing police brutality and racism. We need to air out these issues. So, personally, behind the Black Lives Matter movement, and until our voices are heard, let's do this. Something else is about the police brutality. Oh my God. In Kenya, police brutality is actually the order of the day. This issue has been here since time immemorial. And I always feel like there's always a higher force behind that protects the police force in general, because no action has ever been taken against these policemen. I remember not so long ago, a few or 2 months ago, this COVID period in Kenya, a man, he's actually a cripple. He was shot dead, not just shot. He was shot dead simply because he was not wearing a mask. So this issue has never been taken up. We've never had the results. We've never been told if this cop was actually arrested, if he was fired. We don't know anything about that. So I really feel like there's always a higher force protecting the police, and that is not right. We need to pin down these people who are always killing the minorities in the society.
Well, racism, first and foremost, I actually feel that racism is very retrogressive to any given community and society. It causes hemorrhaging of, cohesion in any given community. And I think it's something that should be really, really discouraged in any given society if any society or these particular societies to experience growth. Personally, I've been a victim of racism before. There was a time I was walking into a mall, and when we were just queuing there, the guard who was, frisking guys, he came in and was like, hey, you guy, would you step aside? So I was like, why am I stepping aside? Only to look back and see some white guy. I was actually supposed to give way for him to be to go ahead of me and before me. So that it made me feel so bad that I am in my country, yet I am being put to this kind of experiences. It didn't feel so well. So yeah, I think racism should be discouraged from every angle by all leaders and by community at large. Yes.
I am absolutely saddened, terrified, and confused that after so many years, after all the work that people like Dr. King did, that racism is still an issue all over. Like we've seen, people have integrated so much. You have black players in footballs, in every aspect. So I don't know how it's still alive, and I hope that in our generation, this generation, that is it's the time that will put racism to bed, like bury it, like totally, because I do not understand how it's still thriving. And about police brutality, first let me say that police are very important, and I think they do a really good job, but I think there needs to be more training for them. In our country, we believe that they are so brutal because of maybe they are not paid well, and so and they have to work so hard. They don't even have the proper equipment. I feel that it's training, and also that they need to be taken care of, because they really play a very important and huge role in our societies.
Ningependa kuongelea shirika linalotetea watu weusi, Black Lives Matter. Ningependa kwanza na kama huko Marekani tuliona juzi George Floyd, polisi walimfanyia kitendo ambacho hakikufurahisha wananchi wote, na iliwalazimu pia wachezaji wa mpira, wachezaji wa kila aina ya michezo kuacha kucheza ili kuonesha kwa kuwa wakufurahishwa na jambo hilo. Na pia ningependa kuongelea jambo hilo pia huku katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, katika taifa letu la Kenya linafanyika sana. Mapolisi wanafyatua risasi bila kujali, kwa kuwa wanaangamiza maisha ya wananchi. Na pia tumeona kuwa mapolisi ambao wanahitaji watulinde au ndio wamegeuka kuwa hayawani, wanaua wanadamu kama wanyama bila kujali. Ningependa sana kuwashauri Wakenya wenzangu na wananchi wote kutia mkazo kwa jambo hili, maana jambo hili halitupendezi kabisa. Ningependa sana wananchi wote tuungane mikono pamoja, maana sisi sote ni kitu moja, na tukiendelea na umoja, najua hii nchi yote itakuwa ya amani, na pia nchi yetu ya Kenya itaendelea kuwa ya fanaka.
Action needs to be taken, and also there are cases of for example, activists who have been silenced or threatened whenever they speak about police brutality, and it's really wrong, and something needs to happen and action needs to be taken.
My views on racism, I feel like it's a funny issue. Most people don't want to address it. Some will address it, but it feels like they're walking on eggshells. Now, people think maybe racism it's only in the first world countries, but here in Kenya, we sort of experience it. We actually experience it. I'm gonna give you a few scenarios now. A foreigner, I walk into a restaurant, I'm sitting and waiting. A foreigner walks after me, they will be served first, given better service than I, and we're both paying, Another scenario, some hotels will not allow locals, that's Kenyans, to swim in their swimming pools. Or some restaurants, I have a good example. It was trending a while back of a Chinese restaurant in Nairobi. It could not, I don't know if it's changed, but it could not admit Kenyans at certain times. So when it gets to a certain time, it will not admit Kenyans, or it will not even admit Kenyans at all. Like you cannot go into the restaurant, the Chinese restaurant, and get served. So they specifically say it's for foreigners. Well, they are Chinese in Kenya, but they will specifically say they're serving um, foreigners, Indians, or any other people, but not Kenyans. Another example, Indians who are living in Kenya, some have been born and brought up in Kenya, you cannot go and live in their neighborhood. Okay, let's say apartments, you'll definitely be house hunting, but you go and see a vacant, maybe a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, but they will tell you we don't admit Kenyans. So, well, it's only probably Indians who are living in those places. Yeah.
Each and every time I get to see news from CNN, Al Jazeera and all that, even my local stations here, and witness racism, because actually the whole sequence or essence of Black Lives Matter movement is racial, and every time I see that, I feel bad. I feel so bad. Actually, you take it very personal. But again, I've been wondering, just to maybe pose a question, because I've been wondering, would I feel the same if the reverse was also true? Let's say, for instance, it was a white man being, subjected to these, forces, police brutality and all that. Would I feel the same? Would I raise my voice and say, you know what, this is wrong, this is bad? And I would actually want to challenge each and every one of us. If the reverse was true, would you feel equally, agitated? Would you feel bad? And if not, then probably what you're feeling is not actually the rippling bad effect of police brutality based on racism. And so it's a question I would want to pose to you. Because personally, I feel so bad. And the moment I asked myself that question, I actually said, of course I would feel so bad, because nobody should be victimized based on the color of their skin. Actually, that should be far from it. I mean, we should not even be discussing this. It's so sad that it's 2021, we are heading to 2021, and still we are thinking about, racism. This is something that should be long gone. But it's something that is here and we have to deal with it. So I think to answer your question on my views on Black Lives Matter movement, I think it should continue. I think we should continue. As I said before, let's speak this thing out. It's there. Let's vocalize it. Let's say it as it is, because that's the only way we can get to have these systems, that have been rigid for quite some time, to a bit, loosen up a bit for us. Yes. So address it as it is.
Well, I can't quite say that I've ever experienced racism. Maybe since I just have only lived in my country, and it's an African country, I'm African, I cannot really say I have experienced, or unless what I've seen on TV, I've not experienced any form of racism.
My personal view or opinion is that racism should not be a discussion in the year 2020. We are all human beings, and age, gender, color, body size should not define or separate us, or even prevent us from loving each other. We all breathe the same air. For that reason, I feel like we should just love each other the same.
Some time back, I being a singer, I applied for a position in training. It was a school that was looking for a vocal trainer for their children. And so I applied for this position, considering, I thought to myself, hey, I'm gifted for this, I will do this. So I applied. And it was an international school. So one of the judges there then was actually a white woman, and this white lady was, she was good. She knew her heart. She knew what she wanted, and she loved what I did amazingly. And so I passed the auditions. But at the end of it, when I was just about to walk out, she stops and she says, "Hey, I think you're really talented. I think you're gifted. You are the part of what we're looking for, but I don't think you completely match what we actually, we're actually putting a pin to it and saying this is exactly what you want." And so I was curious to know why and what rather she meant. And so she said, your skin tone. Actually, she was very blunt. I've never in my life I've ever had someone so blunt. She said, because of the color of your skin, I don't think you'd represent the school to the international platform. It was an international school. We were heading to an international platform. It was competitive. So I don't think, she said, that you will match up to the international expectation. You will not represent the school. Hey, Manzi, that was crazy. I was like, oh, okay, I felt bad because I felt like I deserved it. But again, you never deserve something too much. So I said, oh, well, it is what it is. And that day, I knew very well systemic racism exists, whereby you're victimized, you're put down simply because of the color of your skin. You cannot progress into careers, you cannot progress into professions, you can't progress into any given field simply because of the color of your skin.
Well, since I come from Kenya and it's an African country, I have never really experienced where I think I was singled out because of maybe tribe. We may not have racism here. What we have here is tribalism, because we are about 47 tribes, 47 to 46 tribes. But I can't quite say that I've had, like I said, I come from an African country and I am from a tribe called the Kikuyu. We are the majority, and since independence, we've only had 4 presidents, and 3 of those presidents, even the current one, is from my tribe. And so people tend to feel that Kikuyus are favored here and there. But I don't know, I don't think I've ever gone somewhere and I think like something has been done for me because I come from a Kikuyu and we have a Kikuyu president. I don't think so.
I'd say the major one personally for me right now would be getting a job opportunities, especially here in Kenya. There's so much nepotism, cronyism and tribalism, such that you need to be well connected to actually have a job. You need to know someone who knows someone who knows someone who can connect you to getting a job. And that for me has been a very big challenge because for the longest time I can say I've been searching for a job. And even when you get one, there are still those barriers that hinder you from, being very functional at your workplace, because maybe there's a rumor that some relative is coming to replace you or something of the sort. Yeah.
Being a makeup artist, you get calls for gigs and all that. So you go of course with your makeup kit and you place everything on the table and you're about to start your makeup, of course on your clients, but it's the way they look at you and they really doubt, are you sure you're able to beat the face? Because you could tell they're a bit judgmental, maybe thinking because of my body size I cannot be able to do as good, I cannot be able to do a better job than my other artists. Yeah.
To reduce stereotypes, I think it's high time that the society gets to that point of understanding that people are different. They can never be the same. I mean, we are all different, we believe in different things. And up to that point, given the fact that we all understand what racism is, we need to have a renewal of mind. We need to have a paradigm shift in our way of thinking and just embrace diversity. When you embrace diversity, you're able to know, so someone can be different, and that's just who they are. I can embrace them as they are. And so I think we really need to embrace each other. And this way, by renewing our mind, we are able to go past the stereotypes barrier. Because these stereotypes are the ones that actually lead to us being very racist and all those kind of things, vices. And also, I would want to imagine that racism goes beyond, maybe what you'd call police brutality and all those kind of things that you'll say, the police are abusing that person or they're beating up that person because of the color of their skin. It goes beyond that. It's deeply rooted. And so having this understanding, you'll go down even further to address different societal fabrics. Like, let's say the education system, teach it. Let our children grow to know that racism is bad. Let it be taught in schools, And another thing, I think, probably address it. Let nobody be too afraid. Let's not be afraid to address this thing because it's there. We cannot be ignorant. We acknowledge the fact that it's there, but it will be far much damaging if we know of its origin and then choose to be quiet about it. I think we should address it passionately, condemn it with the loudest voice possible in every system, in every part of our society, education, political systems, and all those, you name it. Systemic racism is there. Let's address it and do not fear. Address it as it is. Condemn it with the loudest voice possible. Yes, and I think that way we'll be able to improve, and at least you'll have made those baby steps even for the future generations to come.
I think perception needs to change. How people perceive each other, and how people I think this whole racism and stereotype thing is all in the mind. And to be very honest, what you think about someone is actually what you bring out, what comes out of your heart. Whatever you say to someone is what you probably thought for a long time, and then you just one day say it. So I think perception needs to change. We need to change our mentality on how we see people. We need to be more positive with people. We need to understand that there are different cultures. They're different people. People are different. How I'm different from my mom, and she's the one who's maybe brought me up and done all these things, but we are all different. So we need to understand that everyone is different, and we need to learn more about all these cultures so that we can also be in a position to even bring up our kids with that togetherness, show them that there's no racism, there's nothing like racism. And also, I think apart from perception, we can maybe interact more, try doing hangouts together. And that also brings in the aspect of, learning each other's culture. Just that.
What needs to change? I think I can say knowledge is power. I could give an example. Have you ever gone to a shop and you want to buy an item, not in a supermarket where prices are tagged on every item, but just in a shop where you just need you're trying to get an item and you ask the price and you just want to buy, you haven't checked anywhere else, and you just buy the item, and then few hours, few days, few months later, you bump into the same item in a different shop or different shops, and you realize you paid almost double the amount you paid double the amount in that shop, and you feel so bad, and you wish you could have gone to different shops or Googled to know the price, or even just found out or called friends just to ask, how much do you think this product would cost? How much do you think I could pay for this product? And that's the thing. When it comes to race, when it comes to weight, when it comes to, religion, when it comes to culture, background, communities, all that. Instead of just concluding or just coming into a conclusion about something, let's learn. Let's read about a certain race. Let's read about a certain culture. Let's read about a certain, age group and all that. Let's not victimize people just because you had or you've been told this is what happens. I think it's really, really important if we can just take an extra step and learn about people, learn about all these things. Then at the end of the day, you don't have to just agree to what people say, because at the end of the day, you've learned, it's in your head, and you can just make a decision instead of taking a gun and just shooting a person just because they're of different race, and you've grown knowing this is black, this is white. Let's just read and learn and intermingle and get to know these other people, instead of body shaming someone, waking up in the morning and thinking this person is too fat, this person is too thin. Let's get to know. Someone can be struggling. It could be a struggle, struggling with your weight. You're overweight because maybe of your metabolism. You're underweight because you have an issue. Let's just not conclude people are fat, people don't eat. I think that's really, really important. I think that's what needs to change. I think learning and reading and all that.